which one is going to be selected. I would expect Samsung to prioritize Zac over the Galio. This Crown has shown that he'll play Victor into it. There's Karma that they've tried into it as well. So yes, ban away the Zac, and Samsung now left with the easy choice of just first picking Galio.
Scoop it up, throw it to Crown. You know he is very consistent, very solid in the mid lane. Grab him a extremely strong blue side mid laner.
What does that sign say? Read away.
The font is too weird.
I bought a... no, I can't say. I bought a phone and I regretted it.
With the giant Samsung logo. Well, we got Lee Sin and potentially Tom Kench coming out here for Ever8.
This means that Samsung will be looking for a aggressive jungler if they want to make this Galio work. Now that there is no Gragas, and we have seen that combination work, really Graves seems to be the last remaining pick. Jarvan can be a possibility, but making Jarvan jungle work is difficult to say the least. So I expect perhaps a Graves being the jungle pick for Samsung. There's no rush in taking this pick, so maybe going away with AD carry and then top laner would make more sense, as Galio has fallen through the idea of him being a flex pick and is now just stuck in the mid lane, as that's where he's most powerful, and there it is. Take away the Jarvan right from the get-go, and it can be a flex pick for Cuvée, but it can also be for Ambition, and I would sincerely hope that it's not jungle Jarvan.
Yeah, I don't really want to see that either.
What do you want to see? World peace? Hunger
yeah,
ended?
That's definitely a couple of the things I would like to see. How about some Nocturne?
You're in the wrong region. LPL's got you covered.
Yeah, I gotta check that out perhaps. Victor comes through for Septed.
So taking away the potential of Crown having put the Victor into the mid lane and the Galio. And yeah, we have to say that Galio can be a flex top and they can be a flex in the support role.
Do we have to say it?
Well, hopefully not past this time around, but Ever8 going with a scaling strategy so far. They are going to lose out on a lot of pressure when you're dealing with Galio against Victor. Victor will take some time to ramp up and start answering back on that minion wave, and that opens up Samsung to invade and be as aggressive as they want into the top side if they decide to go with Jarvan and Galio as the solo laners, and maybe a jungler like Graves. While their damage will be primarily physical, I think that their early game composition, and if they can protect the Caitlyn late enough into the game, armor penetration will bypass all of that. Remember that Jarvan also has armor shred.
So this sign also says, "Ruler, let's walk the flower path together."
What is that an innuendo? Why does everybody have a flower path? All right.
I think it's just a common thing in Korea, you know.
Okay.
Anyway,
so
go ahead.
The Graves ban. So it makes sense. I see Graves is the last remaining jungler that could really invade and be as aggressive as you would want with these solo lanes. And I'm starting to think that this is actually going to be a jungle Jarvan. We could see that Nocturne that you're crazy about. And
how about some Olapu?
Oh, you're totally right, actually. Olaf could definitely work here. However, it would be a bit tougher to execute him when you're dealing with the mobility of Lee Sin. But Olaf would be a nice pick. It would still, however, be the exact same idea of just a big tank line and protect that Caitlyn.
There's a couple of Ella fans. The support for Ever8 that's doing a little bit better than the other one.
Which we have to talk about, actually. It's not going to be comeback starting. He had been starting most of the games past the Ever8 debut, but now Ella is back. The former Snake player now taking his spot back on Ever8, and we'll see if this breathes some new life into this team, as so much of it seemed to have relied on comeback, and unfortunately to not much success.
So we do get that Olapu comes through.
Olapu?
Yeah. That's kind of how you say it in Korean. It's
oh,
close.
Okay. I thought you were just trying to be cute and adding the word poo to it.
That doesn't seem very cute.
Really? I'm sure couples do that. It's like Poopsie Bear, stuff like that.
Wow, I would never call my girlfriend Poopsie Bear. I don't know, man. We have some different ideas about what is a cute nickname.
I've never done that. Trust me, no. Babe is enough for me.
I hope so. There's definitely some people out there that would enjoy that.
Yeah. Well, the Renekton is going to be the matchup against the Jarvan. So early game power for Ever8 topside. Maybe they can transition that and snowball into the mid lane. But overall, the draft seemed relatively even as Samsung does rely on Caitlyn as their mid to late game major damage threat. So if she's taken out right away via either a great kick from Malrang, which we have seen him capable of doing, or some Marin-esque Renekton play, maybe even a cheeky laser from Septed, then the fights for Samsung are going to be much tougher to play out.
So, as we said, coming into this matchup, Samsung the huge favorite, but we've seen some glimpses of some strong mid lane play, some strong jungle play from the side of Ever8. Really, you know, coming into LCK here for the first time, trying to make something of it, get as many wins as possible, try to stay in the LCK. And
remember, it's Ella this time around, so expectations of this team have changed. We haven't seen him play since week 1, so this could be a completely revitalized Ever.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope they can put up a fight here against Samsung going into game number 1. Okay, we got a bit of a cheeky start here from Ever8.
The only way they can catch out Ambition is going to be with a flash stun from Renekton, which would be a tremendous commitment as he would just ghost and everybody has to follow through. So they'll think twice about it and simply recall, and here he goes. And nothing happens.
Nice. So this would be a good time to mention that the cheer for the Ever8 winners is actually Winos.
What?
Yeah, they say Winos.
You know that's a body part, the weenus.
No. Really, Crumbs? I have no idea.
No, it's your elbow. This part right here, this skin is called the weenus.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought that was a joke.
No, that's not a joke. That's the actual name of it.
The skin on the outside of your elbow is called the weenus?
Yes.
I'm not sure whether or not
I'm not messing with you, man. Google it.
Hold on, let me Google mid-cast.
Ooh, 2 laser steal.
Look at this guy.
Commander Galio's pissed off, and now Ambition's gonna have to jungle level 1. It is Olaf, so he will just get lower and jungle a little bit faster, but that would have happened nonetheless. So the advantage going over to Septed.
And knowing that the jungle will be slightly delayed, or rather Ambition will have a harder time hitting 3. Malrang coming over here, trying to steal this blue, as Ambition going for the wolves and even going to pull them further back into a safe location. That's going to be the red buff going over to Malrang.
And a very intelligent ward from Malrang there to scout out any action that might have come from Olaf if he were to try to go straight into the blue buff. And now he's going to find that there is no camp left, but is Malrang going to get scouted out, or will he make it out? He sees that Gromp is down. I have to say, it was a bit greedy from him going for that camp. Blue would have been enough, and now the advantage that he got only remains in buffs as he is a level down and 6 CS down.
Yeah, kind of an interesting idea. Malrang, a very young jungler on the side of Ever8. Definitely needs a bit more experience under his belt.
Yeah, it's too greedy. I think the logical way for him to have done that is if he expected Ambition to go for a 3 red side camp into recall, as we see it be a common route for junglers, especially if they fall behind early on, which I think he might have assumed that the double laser was sufficient damage to prompt that response from Ambition, but instead, he'll simply be jungling without blue buff, and now he's going to go for that double camp and base right after.
We've seen some other answers to the Renekton, or rather the Jarvan, I should say, up in top lane, and Renekton seems to be one of them, at least in this game. Helper showing up against QV.
Here's the slice and dice is about to come up.
More and more damage. QV's ticking on that pot. So, does have the Dorn Shield. The invade comes in. Malrong will be able to pick that up with the help of Ella, who makes his way in on the Tahm Kench.
It's always deceptive in the bottom lane when you can push in so well, but it also allows the red side to react quicker to the invade. And so with Ella being there, the risk of getting devoured if you commit to a fight is so high that it will likely result in you getting killed, so there's no reason for them to take it. And Ambition finds the time to have enough mana to go for one more camp before the recall.
Septa taking a lot of damage here from ground. And Malrong coming on in. Both these players do have all summoners. And looks like Malrong was actually spotted on a nice ward above that brush to the right side. So Crown Ditzian coming in.
This matchup is gonna end up being so reliant on the itemization that both these top laners choose to go for. We know that Jarvan's likely to go with the Tiamat and Renekton with the Black Cleaver, but post that, any magic resistance that comes out from either of these guys will result in them losing this battle. And as such, you can expect Helper to be the one to come out ahead in this one, as the only major magic threat is that Galio, and it's not significant enough for you to change your entire itemization when you're dealing with the likes of a Jarvan. Whereas QV does have to deal with Victor, and that is a threat that matters.
Well, no kills just yet. We have the Ocean Drake spawning first in game number 1 here. Definitely help out if this laning phase goes pretty long, especially for both of the mid laners.
Both junglers can solo it out, but you'd prefer to see it be done after an objective or even with a completed jungle item, so not anytime soon.
Someday, hopefully. Trading back and forth. It looks like Septid is down 3 CS. Crown in the lead.
Every advantage matters. Never give up. Never surrender.
Just like SKT versus Afrika, game 1. SKT almost came back in that game.
Bugs, man.
there's a
not
fly.
in-game bugs.
There's a fly hanging around our desk.
It's summer here, so understandably so. I used to open my window. Here's a dive attempt. He just used his Q. They're waiting for the wave to push up. They have time as they just spotted Olaf. They see him now.
Helper eating 2 turret shots and then ulting. Kive with the extremely easy escape. Meanwhile, Ambition coming over here. They're just looking to push this turret as Caitlyn, Lulu have been pushing in the entire time.
But there is no wave, and Crown's trying to get control of mid lane, and if he can rotate to the bottom side, then they will be able to take down this turret. One more wave is in the top side, but without Renekton ultimate, the second Galio or Jarvan gets here, there is not going to be a chance of taking down this first brick.
Crown now making his way up towards top lane as Kive makes his way back. Ambition now, he's just chilling on the blue side of Malrong.
They're just playing it slow.
Yeah. Well, looks like this should be the turret going down, and uh-oh, Ever8 bot lane is stuck around. The exhaust will come out. Both flashes are used, as well as the ghost of Ambition.
And the movement from Crown, while we might have questioned it, why would you not dive the bottom lane? They had eyes on Lee Sin, so there's no need to bring that extra person to the bottom side. And that's one of the most interesting concepts. Whoa! All right.
Okay, Ambition is furious at this Drake.
How could you? I think that's the first time I've seen that actually happen. That's the kind of stuff you see in solo queue where you think, oh god, this guy's gonna troll me, isn't he? I better give him everything he wants.
He's gonna hold our entire team hostage on the Rift.
You're my buff slaves. But the concept I was mentioning is the +1 idea, where you, in order to make a play happen, for the most part, when the game is even, you just need a one-man advantage. So a +1, you go for a play that has one more person than what your counterpart has. So they have 2 people defending. You need 3 to make that play happen. So with Olaf, Caitlyn, and Lulu, they had enough numbers to go for it. So had they gone with Galio, a commitment of a +2 would have resulted in an over commitment for that objective, and as such, Galio would have missed on unnecessary farm and pressure in other parts of the map. And that's a very interesting thing to always observe, because that's how you maximize the advantages that you can get throughout the map, and Samsung did it well.
So they pick up that bot lane turret pretty easily. You do see the rotation up into top lane by the bot lane of Samsung. Bot laners. And still that turret remains. Moving those 2 up there will protect it for quite a while. You can see bot laners of Ever8 are trying to push into this bot lane turret, but it's totally healthy, and Ambition is waiting in the wings.
They're going to be in danger. They don't have sums.
Oh, they don't have anything. Oh, boy. This could be lights out for Ella, perhaps. At least, okay, will come in. Does Ambition. He's got that cooldown back. The axe actually hits Duel here. Lee Sin making his way through, as well as both these mid laners porting in. There's the heroic entrance. Will knock up the Tom Kent, who does have the Varus inside. The flash taunt actually misses. Meanwhile, coming in from behind, the TP Helper able to pick up 2 kills, and that is going to be huge for the side of Ever8, turning that around and picking up 3.
Oh my god, the Jarvan Cataclysm keeps Olaf from getting inside the fight. Just their classic Jarvan move, not dropping down the ultimate, and as such, Olaf just burns his ultimate for no reason. They kite it out well, and they buy enough time for the entire lineup of Ever8 to collapse, and all they get in return is a tier 1, but turret exchange has already happened. This gives the advantage now towards Ever8, and 2 kills going to the Renekton and a death for Jarvan, not good for this split push matchup.
Let's take another look at this. I mean, as you were saying, Olaf is just left, throwing 1 axe.
Yeah, he's trying to get away from chains.
Oh boy. Hits Duel, and it's pretty sloppy. We see the Galio come in, and heroic entrance does work, but the immediate TP from Helper from behind and the faster rotation from everybody on the side of Ever8 is enough. Nice kick there from Malron. Gets 2.
They flash like crazy, trying to get the kills, but this composition needs Caitlyn if they want to be killing people. And now that the mid game is starting to go Ever8's way, it's going to be even more apparent how needed Ruler is for them to actually pick anybody up. They're just the lineup of crowd control, and that's why letting the Galio go through isn't such a bad idea from the side of Ever8, because if you can put Crown on a non-carry, you're lessening the chances of there being some crazy carry lineup on the side of Samsung, and he's now stuck in being a support for a lineup that only has Ruler as your main threat.
Well, Galio does a bit of damage, but not enough. And as you were saying, it was a nice try, but did not go very well.
It was a hilarious try.
I don't know if you would really call it a nice try, actually, at the end of it all. Helper still trading, looking for a kill here on Deceptive, but he does have his cleanse, not even gonna burn it. So brave is the victor here from Septed. He's like, yeah, you got nothing. You got no damage. Just take me out.
Not even face. He's got Malrang on the way as well. And now he's gesturing towards the bottom side of the map. There is a control ward at the Krugs and no wave. It's far, far away. So the chances of diving Cuvée here aren't there, but we are aware of how much pressure Renekton is putting on this lineup. He just used his safeguard, so he could be in trouble for the next couple of seconds.
Just going to hop to Ambition, kick him away.
Like it was never even there.
Well, we got some pings coming to the top side here, as we haven't seen them rotate into mid and begin pushing the last remaining tier 1.
Here's the swap though. Just trying to go for as much farm for the Caitlyn. Galio and Victor don't need to move from the middle lane. All they need to do is wave clear, and they can do so safely.
We got a Cloud Drake up next, so hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen.
We're about to take off.
This wind is going to blow us away.
Speaking of wind, there's a sailing club here I'm going to hit up.
Is there really?
Yeah, the one in Dangsan. The one where we go by on the subway. I'm definitely going there. I even had a small daydream of being a sailing instructor here in Korea. Speaking not a lick of English or Korean. Only.
Yeah, you don't speak any. You don't speak any English, Crumbs.
My body language and the use of my sail will communicate. You know.
You just got to go shirtless on the sailboat, offer your services on the side of the river.
Which you saw, but my first interaction with Faker. So I'd seen him in tournaments before, casting and whatnot. But I'm changing outside, shirtless. He comes out, and that's when we lock eyes. And I don't think
what
I'd ever
happens next?
What happens next is, well,
the magic begins.
Yeah, we simply bow heads and say hello and walk away.
Wow. Truly magical.
Those moments captured in time that will live forever, but the moment will never be there. Will never be the same.
I remember when Faker first said hello to me.
Were you shirtless?
Unfortunately not. But
then did it really happen?
I don't think you can say it was quite the same.
Everything that matters only happens shirtless. That's a truth fact.
Never heard that, but I guess I can believe it.
Well, that's why Lee Sin just took that Cloud Dragon, and he does not have a shirt.
There you go. He's got a blindfold to make up for it, I guess. Varus is like barely wearing a shirt.
Well, he's supposed to be Cupid.
I guess that makes sense. Both of these guys down here are heavily armored, unfortunately. No magic happening on bot lane.
What prudes.
Is Tompkins wearing anything? He's got like a little jacket
bib
on.
No, he's got one of those bibs they give you at like one of those eat with your hands places with no plates, just tables. Love those places. Oh, Lee Sin is going to be soloing out the Herald though, so some action is happening, and that might result in one of the tier 1 mid turrets being cracked at some point.
Look at Crown up in top lane. He's just there letting Septic take
What?
the turret. He's literally just like, okay, you can have it.
All right. Well, he does complete his adaptive helm, which will help against Victor, especially against a Chaos Storm.
And there you go. Rift Herald goes over to Ever8, who can definitely use it to push into the mid lane if they want. That was just such a weird decision from Crown. I'm still thinking about that.
He really just wanted the completed helm. That's, I think, the only way you can assert it. He's not going to die to Lee Sin Victor. It's too easy to see it coming.
Just playing it extremely safe, but giving up an objective for it.
Well, I think once they botch that gank into the bot side, they are just thinking, oh man, we're going to have to wait for the hour-long game before Caitlyn's online. She doesn't have Infinity Edge yet, so it'll take a while.
We're seeing a lot of static Shiv first recently. Saw it in the SKT Africa series. Didn't get to mention it, but it's good for pushing waves.
Well, now that your Runaan's Hurricane no longer stacks those headshots, it's not good on Caitlyn, so you'd rather go with a static Shiv into rapid fire, but always include the BF. You don't want to just have crit without any damage, so similar to before where it was Hurricane or BF into Hurricane, this time it's going to be BF into static Shiv. So offers a similar wave clear, a little bit more damage early on, but still the same idea. So while the build looks different, the play pattern is still the same.
Finally do have this push in mid lane. Ambition helping out, making it a 3-on-2 as Malrang is just farming. But the Varus with a decent amount of wave clear, you can see that turret is still extremely healthy.
And this turret bottom still also healthy. Teams are just happy to stall it out and do nothing, really.
There's a CS deficit in both mid and top lane, and looks like a level deficit as well. So I think you're definitely right in saying that Samsung is essentially just saying, okay, we're just going to farm. If you don't want to push, you don't want to use your Rift Herald, That's fine. We can put 3 members in mid, hold off, go 1-3-1, sit in the lanes, farm up, waste time.
If you want to deal with late game Caitlyn, then that is your duty.
Yes.
They're also going to have triple stone plate, gargoyle stone plates. Olaf,
Gross.
Galio, and Jarvan all build that item.
That's pretty gross. I guess we might see it on the Renekton.
Yeah, if it hits that late stage. I think he's going into the Randuins now. It'll help dealing with Caitlyn.
Yeah, certainly will. Just saying, okay, my job is get into the back line, deal with Caitlyn. If I can pop my Randuins on top of her, that will take away a ton of DPS. So already essentially did his job early game, preparing for the later stages. QSS picked up by Ruler.
Boy, this one's man,
this one's a doozy.
Whew.
Get out there and tell your friends about this matchup, guys.
Look at the revert. No, why would you use it? Okay.
Well, he is going to push Cuvée away, but you are missing out on the opportunity to use it mid lane, and also it's killing creeps.
No, I think this one takes the cake. Okay, finally. Redirected to the bottom side to the turret, so I'm still hating that Rift Herald use. Golf claps for it.
Yeah. The idea behind it is, okay, Samsung is putting so many members in mid. Instead of using it there, we could just get a free turret instead of only damaging the mid lane turret.
Yeah, if it's running out. The wave clear on mid lane is fantastic from the side of Samsung between Undertow, Caitlyn's static, and her own Piltover Peacemaker. And then you have Lulu to top things off to slow down the wave, buying even more time for autos. It's just no chance of actually proccing it without getting any of them out of the lane first.
Yeah. Galio can always make his way there pretty easily if a team fight breaks out. He's got some nice wave clear too. Cuvée pushing past that ward. You can see Malrong and Helper making their way down here looking for a 2-on-1. There's the kick into the Q and a stun from Helper. Cuvée looking to escape towards the river and to that Lulu with the wild growth. Meanwhile, an insta QSS. And the follow-up will not kill Ruler. And it looks like actually Malrong gets away there with the ward jump and the follow-up here from Ever8. Exhaust onto Ambition, and nothing is going to happen.
Back in mid lane, pushing minions.
Malrong has the least excited face of all time. Okay, we got no summoners on Ruler. How did... Oh, God, he stepped on the trap.
He could have flashed for it. Oh, no, there's Galio ultimate. There's Galio
That's
ultimate
true,
still.
Oh.
Wake me up. Wake me up when...
Should I wake you up when the when the excitement starts?
Well, they're just so close. Ever needs to be accelerating this game more. When you have Flash on Lee Sin, you should feel awkward. You should feel like you're holding on to something that you should be like you stole something and you need to return it. It's that Flash. You gotta get rid of it. Use Kick Flash on somebody, burn some summoners, but it's still available. That Flash could have been utilized in mid lane long, long ago. We'll take another look here at the engage onto Ruler. He misses his net backwards, and then Septa tries to finish him off, but he's just too damn fast right now with tier 2 boots and a completed static shift.
Yep, flash for flash. So at least the Caitlyn will not have that for a while, whereas Septa still does have his cleanse. But again, they'll need Helper to get into that back line. Does have the finish Randuins.
More pushing minions.
Oh, baby. Setting up the wall of traps here.
You know, one time, this is completely random, but I signed a baby named Jarvan.
What?
Yeah, I signed a baby.
You signed a baby?
Yeah.
And it was named Jarvan?
Yep.
Shout out to the biggest League of Legends fan of all time.
That was like 5 years ago, so now little Jarvan's going to be out there
He could be listening to this cast for all we know.
Yeah, Lil J.
He's like 6 years old.
Those are the glory days of League,
Is that
man.
Jarvan the 5th then, I guess?
Maybe there's more.
Yeah, I guess, you know, you can't assume that there haven't been any more Jarvans.
Those were the glory days of League. We had no rules. We lived by this. We lived by our own laws.
Okay, gets on to Ruler, who still doesn't have his flash, and finally they find a kill. And as you're saying, the Lee Sin doesn't have flash anymore and shouldn't feel too awkward.
Beautiful. Exactly what we're looking for. Accelerate the game with the tools that you have. Lee Sin kick flash, one of the greatest moves out there to engage and pick a fight. Blank played it to perfection in game 2, and now Malrang's starting to get the ball rolling 24 minutes in, and finally they'll be able to crack down this mid-tier 1. Now they're poised towards Baron. They're good. Pings onto it, and Olaf is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, way far behind here, as he did have to recall, and I think this is part of the reason why they're going for this. They think they can burn this down. It's getting pretty close. You can see Ambition on the left side, still too far away. It's going to be a turret and Baron going over to Ever8.
And Ever looking a lot more composed and calculated in their actions with Ella as opposed to comeback. And so far, while the game was slow, it's going well for them. 5K up in the lead, and Ambition face checking being way too low, and Ruler thought he could cleanse out of the kick, but that no longer is the case. Will go down, and with the Caitlyn getting low and Olaf forced to recall, Baron was an easy decision.
Well, they're going to kick in Ambition, and he is extremely tanky. This isn't going to be the first time this game that Ambition has checked a brush.
But he missed the Q. He CC'd. It's like a non-moving target.
There's only one direction to throw it in.
Yeah.
It's not like the target curves. But, I mean, we've seen that out of a lot of these LCK players. I remember Peanut was doing it a couple of times in spring.
Even today he did it. Blank did it. Everyone's doing it.
You just got to follow the trend, you know? Malrang is like, oh, my idol Blank, he missed his Q. I got to miss my Q too.
Well, they say imitation is the ultimate form of flattery.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Blank is watching this game. Maybe he is.
Oh,
he probably is on the van, actually, on the way back to the team house.
You know SKT has jets. They don't take vans.
No, it's Jin you're thinking of. So if Samsung lose to Ever8 and Samsung also beat SKT, does that mean that Ever8 is better than SKT?
No, because they got obliterated harder than we've ever seen somebody lose. It wasn't with Ella.
True.
It wasn't with Ella.
Yeah, this is a new lineup, so it's like a clean slate, you know?
Yeah, so 1-3-1 with Lee Sin in the mid lane. Renekton still has pressure onto this Jarvan down bot lane. Can afford to get a little low.
Malrang blocks that, and there's the kick. Nicely done, Chain of Corruption. Unfortunately, this is Galio, and he is pretty tanky. Also has the Frozen Hurt.
You know what I just noticed? Galio is going to be a pick at Worlds, and the World winner when SKT win, when he flies into that big logo, it's just going to be the logo of the team. That's why Galio was reworked that way. It's like, where can we fit in an SKT logo in here?
Do they need any more skins? What happens if they win Worlds like 12 times in a row, all with different champions,
well,
and
I
there's
just figured
a whole lineup
if
of
you
like...
do it like that, just allow them to design their own champion.
Yeah, I would like that, yeah.
Or their own item.
You got to mix it up. You don't want to have 60 different SKT skins for champions. That would be pretty ridiculous. Ever8 is actually snowballing this game. Again, I'm still reluctant to say that they're going to be able to close this one out, as we are facing Samsung.
I think they might be. It's really only Ruler that is the big threat so far, and they've played the Baron out well. They cracked down all the outer turrets, all the inner turrets, and now only base turrets remain. And while the Baron is still in their hands, and they'll likely have to wait for another Baron before they can start messing with base turrets. They've gotten Dragon so far. They're taking control over the jungle effectively. And if the vision continues the way that they are, and Samsung's ability to create a play is so reliant on Caitlyn being there that it constricts them and allows Ever to extend and control 3 lanes, where typically you would see a team that is in this position dealing with the threat of Galio and Jarvan having to stick to only 2.
Coming on in here as Sep did. Malron making his presence known, but will not engage there. The Drakes have not been all that great for Ever8. I mean, they have double Cloud. It's nice when you can stack the Cloud Drakes, but again, you would definitely like a couple of Infernal Drakes to make sure you can get on the backline. And then the next one is Ocean Drake, so pretty useless late game.
They do have the Mountain, and that one does help them out. But I think that Samsung is reaching the spike that they're finally comfortable with, which is going to be that triple Gargoyle Stone Plate for the tanks and your armor penetration on Caitlyn. So she's about to finish her Lord Dominance. It's already with the last Whisper. Any more should do the trick. But once those guys get tanky, the damage is going to be minimized so greatly on the side of Ever8 that they're going to be wondering if they just don't have the lead that they thought they did.
Notice the Ardent Sensor on Lulu too. Basically just saying like, okay, we're going to make sure we have enough shields to keep this guy alive.
Also notice the 2 wards with 10 or 8 bars of HP next to each other, almost like a little factory, solar powered factory there.
You know, just handing over.
Global warming isn't real.
They're just handing Ruler some more gold. It's all part of the script. They got to give Ruler a chance here.
Here we go. Kick flash onto Core JJ. So another beautiful use of the ability. While we didn't catch it on screen, we see that the flash and kick got burned. And we can infer exactly what happened. And this is what we wanted to see a little bit earlier, but I'm glad that they're doing it now. And that's why Lee Sin is such a hotly contested pick. The ability to make plays and accelerate the tempo is unrivaled. And here we go. It's going to be easy as 1, 2, 3.
Boom.
Didn't even need the Chaos Storm, really. But if you're not getting an advantage anywhere else, you might as well commit. You'll pick up a fight anyways when those cooldowns are back.
You notice that Core JJ, the second he attacked the ward once, he's like, I've been spotted. I need to run away, abort mission, but it was too late.
You get a good feeling about when you're surrounded. Smell it in the water. There's a Lord Dominix completed in the first stone plate on the side of Crown. So now they're mustering up the courage to start de-warding the blue side and get in a position to contest Baron when they get started or baited from Ever8.
Yeah, this is a really important time for Samsung because if they can delay the Baron for as long as possible, they haven't lost any inhibitor turrets. They have that late game scaling we've been talking about. And if they can get to a position where they don't take too much damage from either the Baron or they don't lose any inhibitors, and at least minimize the damage as much as possible, gain some time for your character to get more items, more gargoyle stone plates for the tanks, then Samsung could definitely come back in this one.
Looks like they're starting it though. Okay, no, they just clear out some vision. But so much is going to be riding on Ruler here. Him staying alive and consistently DPSing, he has to avoid the laser by all costs. And if he doesn't, then, he's gonna ult.
Yeah. To get on to Ambition. Malrong sticking to him like blue, looking for that kick. But the Wild Growth does come up here, looking to damage. Nice polymorph into the taunt. Meanwhile, in mid, Ruler has taken a bunch of damage. Still, the tanks do not die on the side of Samsung in the top lane.
Mid and AD's trading flashes there. This is going to open up Ruler to being more vulnerable during a fight, as there's still 3 flashes on the side of Ever that can punish this. Now they're starting Baron.
And they're on top of a Scuttle Crab, so SKT does, or Samsung rather, does know that this has started. Chain of Corruption onto the Olaf, who does not have his ultimate. Jumping on in is Cube, trying to burst down Septed on the left side. Helper trying to get onto Ruler, but is unsuccessful with the help of Galio. And that means that we just have Cube going down, but lots of low members on the side of Ever8.
And Helper draws the attention of Samsung back. They understand that you must protect Caitlyn, but if all she can hit is that Renekton, nothing happens.
Ooh, the Q misses Ruler. from Malrong. But you can see Ruler, he's getting frisky. He's up in the front. He's pulling that bang style, saying, okay, it's my turn to carry.
He did burn that QSS. It will be back up for the next fight, but he used it on the Renekton stun, which to me, Helper was the hero forever here. They make the call to turn, and the taunt, while it does hit Crown or Septon, and he does survive with the shields and the help from everybody in the backline, Helper forces out the Galio ultimate, forces the QSS, and still finds a way to run away and enter the belly of Ella and escapes to safety. Draws the attention of 4 members. Impressive.
And here we go, starting it once again. And this time no flash, no QSS on Ruler just yet. It's getting close, but lots of vision denied. And it looks like with that Mountain Drake, this will just be enough for Ever8 to pick up their second Baron of the game.
And that's one of the weaknesses of Olaf. You could have imagined, okay, why doesn't he just ult in there and try to steal that? Well, he would probably die immediately and melt like butter. But secondly, the path that Olaf has to take into a steal is so obvious that it becomes a simple decision to turn onto him and kill him, whereas other junglers that have more dash moves or are more creative can always find a way inside the pit that you can't account for.
Knocking up Ella here. He does take about half his health and damage, but so does Cuvée. And Samsung, they do have a really nice amount of wave clear, but against the Baron buff minions will make it harder. They got a big wave up in top lane. And Samsung is not in position to stop this right now. Only Galio can't do it. Here comes Cuvée, but the turret is going to go down. Helper actually diving on in. The follow-up stun from the Victor will keep Crown in place, and even the Wild Growth cannot save his life. Ruler alone doesn't seem to be able to do enough damage to push back Ever8. That will be the inhibitor going down. Balrog getting very low. Ambition trying to pick up that kill. Meanwhile, Ruler this time is in enough protection. But Ever8, they do want to disengage. Duel able to flash away, but here comes Ruler still on the chase, and that one undertow from Ambition is going to net them 2 extra kills. And that's what Samsung is looking for. They do lose the inhibitor, but they pick up a couple on the way out.
And the P shooter is finally shooting lead bullets, as they have to respect the Caitlyn after enough damage has been done. Helper thought he could take enough damage, but an item such as Thornmail, by the way, sucks. That item is garbage right now. It never really does a whole lot, as magic resistance is apparent on the side of Ruler, and lifesteal is as well through the Warlord. So the itemization not being optimal. We'll take another look right here. They're going to actually end up taking Crown down almost right away. He's CC'd to death. There's no real damage coming out here. Caitlyn's just hitting Renekton this entire time, and she just barely touches him. Has to dodge out of the laser, dodges out of the Chaos Storm, and while she re-engages and pops the cleanse right away, everybody else from Ever is getting greedy, thinking, oh, surely he can tank more. But Caitlyn now, when she's going forward and has that body of Olaf to protect her from any damage, she's so threatening.
Huge undertow too by Ambition to make sure that they can 100% get those kills. Probably could have with the whimsy of Lulu anyway, but they cut down on that time, and really pristine mechanics from Ruler. The insta QSS out of range of the Victor for the majority of that fight.
Speaking of pristine, that's the triple Gargoyle Stone Plate now being completed.
Look at that, the 3 Ninja Tabi and the 3 Stone Plate right in a row.
That is nasty.
Someone put that on r/oddly satisfying.
Is it?
It is. Is it not?
I find satisfaction in
Is that
other
r/mildly infuriating for you, Crumbs?
I don't think I would post that. I would
Okay.
downvote that.
All right.
I'd give you a downvote GIF.
Okay, flash taunt, but Ella will not be taunted, will save Duel's life. He still is in the back, but so is Ruler. So chipping away at Helper in the front. Lots of burst damage onto Core JJ, trying to knock up a bunch of the members in the back. There is the heroic entrance. 3 people knocked up. A Crown will eventually be taken out. Malrong in the back is going to kick in Cuvée. Can they take him down? There's the follow-up. Malrong does get the kill. And still Septon and Helper in the back are still alive. Ruler trying to chip away at them. Here comes Ambition. Gonna take away that ace in the hole. Will be Ella. And meanwhile, these minions on the back door knocking on the
And
turrets.
he gets the exhaust right at the end before that shot likely would have taken Duel out. And I want to take back that he did cleanse out QSS out of that kick from Malring. So he was looking on the side. Still possible to do, just takes incredible reactions, burns QSS and flash. Whoa!
Okay. Goodbye, Victor. Get out of my base. And this is what we're talking about, that late game Caitlyn. Here we go. Can he 1v4 essentially?
Kick is still up, so he'd have to look for something crazy, not enough energy.
Look at this, pushing forward. That's a second kill for Ruler. And he's still on the chase. There's the Whimsy. Can he stutter step this one? Okay, he's not going to dive the turret. Not going to go that crazy, but it's level 18 itemed to the top.
And Samsung plays the fight in a straight line. Tanks in the front, Caitlyn in the back, respect the Lee Sin, and it works out perfectly for them. Now they're on the aggressing side. They are able to take down the tier 2 now. Pushing for more could be dangerous as there is a 15-second timer on Scepted. Baron is in 2 minutes, so that's our next fight.
Nicely done here by Samsung. This is what I was saying. They're not out of this one yet. Still a lot of gold. Look at that burst damage onto Scepted. He wasn't even expecting it.
Never respecting the Caitlyn auto range. She's always a threat, and when she has Lulu behind her, anybody that dives, chances are they're going to get Whimsy. That is already a threat in itself, and Ella just gets popped as well with a final crit to the dome. How are they going to deal with this Caitlyn now? She just sold her boots for a Phantom Dancer. That's a 100% crit chance.
Wow. Pretty gross. 731, 731, 731.
That's how much money he's going to be taking to the bank with every kill here, pretty much.
Just
not
658
really, like half of it.
From Varus. 1826 with headshot. Well, there's one objective for Ever8. It's pretty simple. Kill the Caitlyn.
It's going to be up to Malring. That's really the guy that can do it. Scepted no longer can get in range and threaten with a Chaos Storm. Laser could be possible, but respect Ruler enough to react well. Malring looking for creative angles. He's achieved it a couple of times before.
Not able to take the red. Looks like Ruler actually takes the red, which is even more obnoxious.
And that's why they contest this objective. Normally 20 seconds before Baron, you would see teams pushing other lanes or not being in that red side, but giving away red buff to Caitlyn before a fight as important as this one can mean the difference between winning or losing, and your tank line being able to take a couple of extra shots or get hit and forced to retreat right away. Here's Renekton from the back, but there's no one in close range for this.
Yeah, he was thinking about it, but even with the Guardian Angel, you got to be careful. Can't get too out of position.
Exactly. Nobody can go in by themselves. It has to be a completely coordinated attack from Ever, and all that Samsung have to do is keep the tanks in front and protect Caitlyn. Use wild growth for Caitlyn pretty much all the time. If your tank dies, but Caitlyn lives, chances are they've won the fight.
Exactly, and we saw a ping down into the bottom lane. Samsung really wanted to get that lane pushing before they contested the Baron, and oh, they're going for it. There's no vision over here. Control Ward is down for Samsung, and Ever8 isn't even close. Here comes Malrong. It's going to have to be the steal. Can he put it down? The taunt is up here. Can he get the steal? No, is the answer, and he will be taken out immediately. In comes Cuvée with a huge wild growth. Will be stunned down. The heroic entrance is going to be enough to save his life. And Ruler still in the back, full health. Immediately, Ever8 has to back off.
And the attempt for the steal was way too early. Smite gets popped immediately. Too easy for Ambition to get that Smite out of the way after, but the result is even worse as now they're forced to defend with the only real threat to Caitlyn, and the GA went down. That brand new GA just crashed.
Yeah, that's really rough. And Scepted not in position right at the beginning. Oh. Look at that crit! Duel cannot get close to Caitlyn.
They're going for a game here.
I think they might be able to do it. They've delayed the game long enough. A very Samsung-esque game. Ever8 will make one final attempt to stop this. Can they actually do it? It doesn't look like it. Gonna jump on in onto Ruler, but there's just too much support. Chaos Storm is not enough damage.
He can just simply waltz out of it with the Whimsy. The flash attempt from Septid does force Samsung to retreat so they don't lose the base.
Septid trying his best, once again, carry this team on his shoulders. But, oh, look at this.
They're eyeing Helper. If he uses Slice and Dice twice, and it's going to be Ella perhaps.
They want to fight. Ruler in the front this time. Chain of Corruption, insta QSS. Duo forced to flash the wall. Again, can't go toe-to-toe with Ruler. It's not going to happen. Needs to be a team effort. Is Malrang going to do it? Doesn't look like it. Ambition, good position. And now they start the Elder Drake.
Any fight that ever runs straight into them, they will lose. There is a kick flash on Malrang, but there is no angle for follow-up. This Dragon is going to be Samsung, unless a steal is to happen.
Will he try, is the question. Are they going to let it go? 4v5, he flashes in, misses it. Actually, Galio picks it up. Look at Cuvée all alone. Malrang definitely can't go toe-to-toe. But Cuvée is tanky enough and has the support of his team. That's going to be 5v4 now in favor of Samsung with the Elder Drake.
And that's surely going to be it. There's a Baron left. All Ambition can do is try to buy some time, stop the recalls, but the damage has been done. Caitlyn's hammering away at the base, and there's nobody that can do anything about it.
They're trying to burst him down. Can't actually see right now. It looks like Ruler is still alive. And here we go, we're back and alive, finally. And coming in here is Helper. He takes out the Caitlyn, but look at the Nexus. Does not matter. Samsung takes game number 1.
What a kooky ending, finishing score kill 7-11, just like the patch. And Samsung play the late game out, wait for Ruler to ramp up, wait for the tanks to get the itemization that they needed, and walk away victorious in under 45 minutes. But Ever had the tools to play the game out faster. It took a little too long, and it went back and bit them in the ass.
Well, we saw them, you know, some glimpses where they came in. Malrang eventually was trying to get those picks. Ruler definitely has to cool himself off after that game.
It was way too late. It was 1-4 at maybe 30 minutes. We were talking about random stuff. If we're starting to talk about random stuff, it's because they're not doing a whole lot.
Yeah. Duel, you got to feel for him. He's not too happy, but I mean, what can he do on the Varus? He doesn't have the same kind of front line. He doesn't have the same kind of late game carry potential as the Caitlyn.
The thing about League that gets players down, even if they had a perfect game, is that it's a team game, and you can always think to yourself, what if I just made the call myself? What if I saw the play and simply told my team how to do it? There are so many levels of complexity that one can take blame for and think that they could have done better, that you're never going to be satisfied with your own play. And as such, if his score was perfect, he still would have ended up being upset because there's always something that you can do that could have spread into somebody else's play. And this is where Samsung try to get happy, try to go for the duo lane that had no summoners, but in the end it was just such a bad attempt that they get collapsed on and will end up losing 3 members for this.
This play is kind of what made the game go as long as it did, honestly, because had Samsung just converted on this play, picked up a couple of kills and backed off, then it would have accelerated everything so much more. Caitlyn would get ahead.
And that's exactly what we're talking about, Brandon, where had Samsung done this, we can expect them to have accelerated the game. But because Ever received that advantage, we wanted them to be the ones to accelerate the matchup. But instead, they failed to do so. And this is the only time where we were thinking, okay, finally, around level 12, but far too late.
Yeah, and you can see the dodging out there by Ruler. Takes out Septid with the help of Cuvée and Core JJ. And even though they get the inhibitor, it ends up feeding a lot more gold into the pockets of Caitlyn, which made things a lot harder later on in the game.
And it's always a threat to having to play these games out where you're dealing with a team that is going to outscale you. You're on the ticking time bomb, and more importantly, you have to play cleanly. And here's where Malrang looking for the kick onto Ruler, but he's going to find a great kick. However, it will be met with a flash QSS right away. Bam, QSS out of there, whoosh, like it never even happened.
Still at full health is Ruler. Pushing them all back. Eventually crits Septid and just takes him out immediately. I can't wait to see the damage out of this Caitlyn.
48K.
48K?
My guess.
58.9K, Crumbs.
Hey, I was right on the second number.
That's true. I'll give you that.
The game went far too long, and so the damage is a result of that. When dealing with the front line of Tahm Kench, Lee Sin, and Renekton, the damage will inevitably be high, and it tells the story of what this composition plays at. Protect Caitlyn, be a front line, and the rest is history.
Yeah, Samsung, one of the few teams that's able to get to that position and have someone like Ruler who's mechanically suited for that role. And I feel like Ever8 as well, you know, one of these teams in the lower side of LCK right now just could not execute to end that game in time and allow Samsung to come back. So guys, we're going to take another